Hi there guys, so I'm going to do a review today of the Wicked Edge Pro Generation 3. I've had it now about 8-9 months, coming up to a year. I feel like I'm in a good position now to give it an honest buyer's review. Been using it a fair amount. Okay. So it's a really good construction box. It's a hard case box, so that's good. Keeps it nice and safe. It's got some padding inside as well. So the actual system itself, I'll just show you as it comes as standard. I'll take these out because these are an additional extra I bought. So literally what you see now is how the box comes in this system, in this package. You can buy obviously additions, which I've done. I've bought the additional stones of 1500 and 2200 sharpening stones. So obviously you get extra spaces, so if you buy additional ones you can put them in. So that's why those are there. So the actual system itself, let's take that out. Okay, so take this actual system out. It comes pre-made, so this is all pre-made, pre-constructed in the actual box as I'm taking it out now. This is exactly how it came, like that. And then you get your stone rods that slide up and down, stainless steel, screw into these joins here. Screw on there. And this is what your actual stones go up and down. So I'll take two out, slide down the arms like that, and you've got this nice little rest on the back here, so you can just when you finish sharpening, just rest them there like that. Or when you're changing stone, take your stone off, grab another stone, put that on, so then obviously the arm's not banging down on the back of the thing, scratching it maybe, but there you go. Yeah, it's nice. Take that one back off, that one back off. So they match up, right. So this is the clamp. It's what clamps your knife into position. You should be able to see that there. That opening up. Okay, as standard, this system comes with 3 pairs of sharpening stones. So you got your first one, your lower grade stone, 100 grit and 200 grit. So obviously for the 100 grit, when you put it on, you sharpen your knife on this side, the red side. That's your 100. Spin it around, then you've got your 200. Obviously you'd have one on both sides, doing it as you go. So that's 100, 200. Then you get with it the next one up, you've got 400 and 600 grit. Same thing, yellow 400, green 600. And then the final pair of stones in the set is 800 grit and 1000 grit. As an extra, I bought the additional stones of 1500 and 2200. So these don't come as standard. Obviously you can buy extra stones, different grits, and I bought this as an extra. This was an additional 100 quid. Stones come in this sort of box. Right. So when you're not using your stones, they've got this nice storage compartment here. So I think that's good if you're keeping it out all the time. If you're someone who's got the space for it to sit out, then you can put your stones in here. So it's got 2 shelves, so it's got plenty of space. You can get loads of stones on there if you want to buy loads of additional ones. That's where your stones can go. So the actual clamp itself, it's got a self-tightening arm here. That's now closed, that's open. It has got a tension bit on the back, so if you find it getting a bit loose, you've got this tension dial here. show you that. Oh my god. So there's that tension dial. The more you turn that to the plus, then the tighter that's going to clamp down. So the more you turn that dial to the plus, the tighter that the clamp. So the more you turn that dial to the plus, the tighter the clamp is going to be on your knife. I leave it on the very minimum, so that's a minus on that side, because I find it more than tight enough to start with. If it starts getting loose, then I'll tighten it up more. But that's where it's good enough for me at this point. Right, so Wicked Edge provide a sort of like a depth gauge thing here, which stops the knife going too low in the actual clamp. So it's got two holes, two positional holes where you can put this guide, and it stops the knife going too low. So if you want your knife a bit lower down, you go there, and you clamp that down, and then obviously up releases the knife. If you want your knife to sit a bit higher, put it in the higher hole, clamp that down. Oh, put the knife in first, then clamp that down. Obviously when you're clamping it down, make sure the knife is not like raised, so the actual back of the knife is sitting on both of the arms of the guide, then clamp that down. And then, yeah. I'm making an error, guys. This is what I don't do with my nice knives. Because this is metal, what I do is I put a piece of paper in there to sit around the back of my knife, so I fear of it scratching my knife. If you've got a cheaper knife and you're not bothered about it scratching, then just clamp down like I was doing there. However, I actually don't do that, so I'll show you what I do. So that's one of my little pet hates. It can scratch your knives when you clamp them in, because it is clamping down really tight. So what I do is just a little bit of paper, put that in there, put your knife in the paper, so the actual, be careful when you're closing it, but the actual knife is clamping on the paper rather than the actual knife. So that's there then protecting your actual knife from being scratched. Again, so if you, these are your kitchen knives. So if you've got your little openers, your everyday carry knives, it takes those as well. So at the minute I've got it in the higher hole. If I want to lower it down, I can put it in the lower one, but again, with the paper, don't have to use the paper, but that's what I like to do. Push that down. Like that. Right. So when you're sharpening it, you have it this way. So you have the knife this way when you're actually sharpening it. Obviously for me, just demonstrating it to you, I put the knife whatever way, but there. So when you're going to sharpen it, you do need to take off this guide, because if you don't, that there is now knocking into the actual depth guide. So that's only a temporary measure, and then you pull that out, and Wicked Edge have nicely designed a little holder for it there. It's got two little holes for it, which you can put in there. Okay, once you've got your knife in the clamp and you've got your desired stones on there, the grits you want, you need to set the angle to the angle of the knife that you're going to sharpen it to. So I know that this knife, this particular knife, has got bevels of 15 degrees on both sides. So I set it to 15 on the slider here, on the dial. So if you don't know what angle your knife has been factory angle to, or you might have created your own angle, two ways to find that out. The easiest way is to go on the website of where you bought the knife, or any website where you can find your model knife, and look if they tell you the angle that is already been sharpened to. If it doesn't say, there's another way to figure that out, and I'll show you that towards the end. But for now, I know that this knife is sharpened to 15-degree angle on both sides, so that's what I'm going to continue sharpening it to. I'm not creating a new angle, I'm just keeping it the same angle as what it is already, and just going to sharpen up at that angle. So for this particular knife, I'm going to be using my 1500 and 2200 stones. I'm going to start on the 1500 and then change over to the 2200s. The way I like to do it, everyone's got their own technique of sharpening it using this system, but for me, I like to do one side at a time to start with, and just go. I like to go in one direction, which is up. I don't really like to pull it down. It's fine, I've seen people do it and it works, but me personally, I just like to push away from the blade. Whereas if you're putting it in, it, in my opinion, might be cutting into the stone. Whereas I know if you're using the leather strops and you're pulling it down, well, using the leather strops, you're told never to pull down because it cuts into the leather strop. So I feel that it might do the same on the actual stones. So everyone to their own, but for me, I like to just go up only. So can do just half of the blade at one time. We can do the full blade in one go, whatever you want to do. Obviously you take it in turns, so you don't have to take it in turns, but I do. Concentrate on the back, the first half of the knife maybe. I'm not putting too much pressure onto the knife here. I'm just letting the stone sit against the edge and then just raising it up. There's no min or max amount that you need to do. I know some people say they do 20 and then they feel it, then another 20. That's fine, do it however you want to do it. I just do it until I feel that there's a consistency on both sides. I'm not feeling any side being any different. And obviously I do a paper test. So at the end I'll do a paper test to see how sharp it is. I should have done the paper test at the start to show you that it was not cutting the paper. I've got a piece of paper over there actually, so I'll show you that I have actually tested it on the paper. And you can see how it hasn't been cutting through it. So now I'm working on the front half of the knife. Still in the upward motion, still on the 1500s. Right, so I feel that I'm at a stage where I've done enough with the 1500s now, so then to do the next step for me will be going to the 2200s, which is literally just spinning these stones around, and now I'm on 2200 stones, and it's just the same process, nothing's any different. Start at the back. Alright, so I think I'm happy with where I am now. Obviously you can sharpen it till as long as you want, you know. It doesn't have to be a razor blade to cut vegetables. I can already feel that this is more than sharp enough. Just going to wipe off any extra dust. Well, metal really, that's obviously been taken off. See, that's more than sharp enough. Obviously that's just tissue. We'll do a little paper cut. I've got a piece of paper. Be careful when you're taking it out, obviously. Hold the blade. If you're not holding the blade and you lift here, because you've taken out the level, it will fall down a little bit and obviously it will fall out. So hold the handle. Yeah, for me, more than sharp enough. Right, so sharpening this knife was really easy. I'm just touching up the blade really. I'm not really resharpening it. I'm not developing a new edge on it. I'm just touching up the edge to make it just a lot sharper. Again, it doesn't take that long, literally only 2-3 minutes in there just to touch up the edge, and it's ready to be used again back in the kitchen. The reason this one was so quick though is because I know the angle that I need to position the machine at and then just get going straight away. So it does take a bit longer if, for example, I'm using this knife. This is a fairly new knife for me. I haven't had it that long. I don't know what the angle is, so it's the factory angle. It came to me really sharp, but I've been using it on opening boxes, just general stuff like that. And it's gone dull quite quickly really, so it is due for a touch up. I'm not going to look up online what the factory angle is. I'm going to do it in a way that if you don't know what the angle is, how to find it yourself. So again, I still used a piece of paper to protect the blade in there. Just going to fold this piece of paper down because it's a smaller blade, a little bit of that paper's going over the front edge. So again, I put that in, use my level first, put that in there. Right, put it back in the clamp. And then I get a board marker. So this is a whiteboard marker, so it's not going to permanently stay on the knife, it's going to come off. And I'm literally going to just down the blade of the knife with the black pen, so it shows up on there. Right, so if you can see there, I've got the pen so far coloured in halfway down the knife. So that's all you're doing, you're just colouring the actual blade with the pen. So I'll do the rest of the blade now. Make sure it's all coloured in on both sides. Yeah, it's gone over enough on this side. So now I've got the whole entire length of the blade coloured in, just in our whiteboard marker pen. I'm going to guess an angle that I think this blade has been sharpened to in the factory. I've never sharpened this blade before, so I don't know what the angle is. I'm going to start at 21, and I'm going to use a coarser grit, so I'm going to use 600, and see if it, when I do a couple of sharpens, to see if where the bevel starts and the very top tip of the edge, if all that black pen is then taken off, I then know that I'm at the correct angle. If only a portion of it's taken off, I know that the angle's not correct. So I'll do it in the middle of the blade, and that there. That there's near enough taken all of it off already. I'll bring you a bit closer so you can be able to see a little bit as well. Yeah, so you should be able to see there from where the bevel is, what language is that? Where the bevel starts and the very edge of the blade, it's already taken off pretty much all of the black pen. So we'll just adjust it one up, or one down rather, down to 20, and I'll see how that looks on 20, so I'll do a different part of the blade, just a little bit along. Better actually move the angle first. Right, let's do a different part of the blade. We'll do this part. And yeah, 21 is the better angle. And I'll do it again on this side, or I'll do it on this side. And yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. So just literally from that rough guess of what I think it might be, 21, well, I think I started on 21, didn't I? So I think I guessed it first time. So 21 is the angle that this blade is factory sharpened to. I honestly didn't do anything in advance to figure that out. Just guessed it first time. Right, anyway, we'll carry on sharpening it now with that angle. So literally, I'm going to start off on 600 grit and work my way up. I'm going to do it quite quickly. Right, so I'm finished with those ones. I'm going to work my way up. So now I'm going to go to the 800s, 1000s grit stones. I am going to give the blade a little clean so I can get off any excess metal that's been taken off using the 600s. Always pull up, never push down, obviously. Right, now using the 800 stones, you don't need to change the angle. The angle stays the same throughout. I'll switch over now to the 1000s. A little clean, taking off any excess metal, pulling away from the blade again, using the 1000 stones. So that is looking razor sharp already. I'm going to do the 1500s. I'm going to finish on the 1500s for this knife. 1500 stones, a little clean. So the higher up in grit you go with your stones, the quieter the noise comes. That's obviously because the stone's a lot finer, so you're taking off a lot less metal the higher up in grit you go. result of that, I'll show you. Well, I'm happy with how it looks so far anyway. That a little clean. Right, you should be able to see that's now looking very sharp. If we can get a clear image on it. Yeah, you can see that's looks very nice. Okay, so that's me giving a demonstration of the Wicked Edge Generation 3 Pro sharpening system. How would I rate it as a knife sharpening tool? I'd rate it as brilliant. As a knife sharpening tool to use, it is a brilliant tool for sharpening your knives. Is it the best out there? Some people say it is. I don't know, because to be fair, I haven't tried all the other ones available, so difficult for me to say. There's a Russian one that's meant to be really good, supposedly. It's even more expensive than this. I think it's the TS Prof system, knife sharpening system. I think it's an extra 300 quid more than this. Doesn't look as good in my opinion, but maybe it works better. I don't know, never tried it. But anyway, in regards to my opinion on this, it is very good, but it is also very expensive. So it's a way up of whether you want to pay the money or not. They do some other options. So this is one of the top end of their systems available. They do some smaller ones, so more travel light ones, which work just as well. It hasn't got the easy functionality of the adjusting the angle just on this dial here. It's just on some slider rails, but you can see that in some of the images for them. But this particular one is very good. It's very good at sharpening your knives once you know the angles, but then that will be the same for any system you use. But once you know the angles, it is brilliant, but it is expensive. So it's a way up of cost of practicality. It depends how much you're going to use it. It depends how long you want it for, because if you think about it, this was my reason why I bought it. I use knives for cooking on a daily basis, and I feel that £1,000 is a lot of money for me to spend on just a knife sharpener. However, because this tool, as long as you treat it well, should last you a lifetime. Obviously you have to change some of the sharpening stones, but because it will last you a lifetime, I felt it was worth the investment. And that's what it is. For me, it's an investment in a tool that's going to last me forever. So I can sharpen the knives whenever I want them sharpened, and I've paid the money, so once it's been paid, it's paid, and you've got it forever then. So that's why I bought it. But in terms of do I think it's good value for money, I think it could be a bit cheaper, but the price is the price. Yeah, it's a good bit of kit. Now, what did I used to use? Before I spent 1,000 quid, I used to use one of these. And this almost cost me 100 quid, so that's 1/10 of the price. But it is extremely difficult to use, and it is, oh my god, so much more time consuming to probably not even get your knives to anywhere as near as sharp as I can on that. Probably because of bad technique, because this really needs someone to have really good technique. You need to be really steady with your hand, and the problem with this is there's no way of knowing the angle you're sharpening it to. It's a guessing game all the time, and you have to have your hand at an angle that is consistent on every stroke, because as soon as you change that angle, you are either blunting your knife edge on this, or sharpening at a more acute angle, so then it's not the same as what we've been doing before. So it's just so difficult, I find. Price comparison though, it's a lot cheaper. But yeah, in the end I gave up on it, spent the additional money. You know, once I spend it, I've got the tool, and that's going to last me a lifetime. this, I'm not knocking it, it's good, but it's got more cons than it has pros in my opinion. But yeah, so that's my product review. Take it with a pinch of salt. I'm not sponsored by them, so it literally is my opinion on it. I know a lot of people are put off by the price, and that's fair enough. You can go and buy the cheaper options, there's nothing wrong with them. They work near enough just as well. But yeah, if you're willing to pay the price, you won't go wrong. That's it, thank you.